who would have loved to know who make spirituality this spooky thing where it feel like you have to go one particular place, one particular time, and you hear about angel with wings and everything sounds way up a sky or underground, and who make the things so spooky?
Come link with me under the ROOT2 tree. Make a reason to every season. Speaking the truth for the youths. Maintaining the spiritual rules. Maintaining the spiritual rules. Maintaining the spiritual rules.
Blessed love, world family, African family, universal family. Welcome again under the ROOT2 tree. ROOT reasoning, spiritual roots. Tapping into the spiritual roots of things, as always. Yeah man, so we're there again. So quick little quiz. Which main Jamaican staple is a starch or one put in a soup? We love it with ackee. Where them say, you're going to name it until you're deaf. And when you name it too much, you make you coward. Yeah? Which Jamaican starch or main staple or food we are talking about? It start with B. So, easy little quiz. Yeah. So, we're going to talk a little bit about it in a Herbs Corner. So, by we reach to the Herbs Corner, ones and ones probably figure it out. Yeah, so we say, give thanks for the support. Give thanks, we appreciate love it. I just look forward to more support. Keep sharing, keep spreading it, keep commenting, keep liking. Because through liking the videos, that's how YouTube take notice and push them like further and advertise them to other people, so the channel can grow. And we give thanks for what's happening thus far. Yeah, blessings. As always, we give thanks to the ancestors, those who taught us what not to do and taught us what to do, so now we know what to choose from. And it's a blessing. We need to recognize it's a blessing for take note of all the mistakes that have been made before us. Is a blessing, because now we know what we're supposed to do and what we're not supposed to do. But it's like we're not listening and we're not look, really. So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so, as we say, we come forward in the spirits of my heart, Ubuntu. Yes. And we say, Mer, Hotep, Anko, Jah, Seneb. Yes, world family, African family. Welcome forward again. We give thanks to be here once more. Yeah, so this week on the Herbs Corner, it's not really a herb, it's really a tree. So if you never figure out what the answer was or is to the question that we asked before, I don't know if anyone will recognize these. So if you not recognize these either, then the answer to the question would have been breadfruit. Because them always say you have breadfruit too much, you get coward and you make you deaf. Yeah? But we eat enough of that and we're not deaf. I would just say that much. So, yeah, so these are, I guess we would say, the flower or the flowers of the breadfruit tree. So this one is the male flower of the breadfruit tree, and this here is the female flower of the breadfruit tree. And we have eaten breadfruit for years, and doing a little search the other day we recognized it. Breadfruit is actually an hermaphrodite tree. So it produces male and female, I guess we can say, organs within the one plant. And from, I guess we can say, those fine looking things that we're seeing on the male flower of, I guess you would say, are the sperms that somehow pollinates the female side of the same plant, and that's how the fruit comes about. Very interesting. Yes. I've eaten breadfruit for years, I never really know that, honestly. So, the male flower of the breadfruit tree, the female flower of the breadfruit tree, and this now, I'm not sure about the female part, but I think possibly both of them, but you can light these when they are well dry and use them as repellents, insect repellents, mainly mosquitoes. And these are said to be even more potent or powerful in that regards than the other repellents that we are using, which contain the main active ingredient DEET. See? So they must say this more powerful, I mean, based on research. So it's not like willy-nilly talking. It's research, go into it, look into it, and them say to run mosquitoes you burn this, and it's more powerful than DEET, more effective than DEET from the other repellents. So yes, fun fact. And also the next thing about breadfruit, where we probably can look into as well, is breadfruit supposed to actually have seeds. I mean, seeds like how you say seeds in jackfruit. So, as we say in some video we do a couple months back, food modification is not new. But what is new in the way that food is being modified now, as we talk about GMO, genetically modified foods, is that it's been done from a place of, let's say, lab, which ingredients are no longer, the fruit is there, the food is there, it looks good, but there's no real live nutrients to feed your body. Yeah? Which from when food was being manipulated, you used to talk about grafting. So it was a natural way to slit a part of a branch of whichever food or fruit you want to engraft with something else. And then that would produce a new variant of whatever you were engrafting. So the live thing was still being, the live enzymes or nutrients were still being transferred to whatever was being produced as well. But from this lab thing now where they're just synthesizing, you take one live enzyme or element or whatever, and you grow that in a dish, a petri dish, and you do your little thing. So there's, after a while now, you're splitting this thing so many times just to reproduce it. It gets weak, after a while it's just growing into something without any real nutrients being transferred, as we call it, information, because that's what we're eating food for information. Yes, so it's not only reading and writing and what going in our brain is information, is also the ingredients, the vitamins and minerals in the food. Those are the information that we eat for. So yeah, the breadfruit flower, the male flower, the female flower, a hermaphrodite tree breadfruit is. So the male, these little, I guess I can call them sperm, will then by the wind blow onto these and then produce the fruit. So yes, breadfruit should actually have seeds. So I guess because I've never seen a breadfruit with seeds like that, like how you'd have seed in a jackfruit. So I guess we have been eating modified breadfruit for all these years. Yeah, and like an extra fun fact, them so some black people come like breadfruit. You know what I mean? Black on the outside but white inside. And the next thing if you notice about breadfruit, no matter how we bunny up, inside still white. Yes. So we check these things. So as we say, these can be used as insect repellents. Just well dry, burn them, and it's said to be more effective than the other repellents, which contains the main active ingredient, DEET. So another time, so we kind of forget about dengue and all these things, but so if we can find these, we can use them for running some mosquitoes. Yeah? And just the same like first time when the people used to chop yard and the bush dry, them light it, run a mosquito for the whole night. All of these things. So herbs corner, breadfruit, and oh yes, the entire breadfruit tree is also good. The leaf can make tea. There's a gum from the tree as well that can be used. As we said, do the search and make it research so the information sticks. And we want to know, sir, breadfruit is also being considered a superfood. If we check the health properties, we'll find out that there are really some great health properties in terms of minerals and vitamins and all these things. So we do the research. We'll see these things. Breadfruit, superfood, and I mean from being studied, not just being said, but people are looking into, could this breadfruit be that main food that could also help to feed the world? I could look into that. Breadfruit, look into it. Herbs corner, blessed, give thanks. Yeah, so this is the part now where we share, as we said, them call it shortcomings, or things that we have got you, whether we want to grow from it or grow into it. And we always think about these things on the positive sides. Yeah. So with me, I think I did, or still have the habit, but working on it, to just listen to the things where me like. Yeah. Then we come realize if we listen to everything, as it's not just where me like, going to have information that will be necessary to my growth in all aspects, emotional, spiritual, physical. So if we listen to all things, yeah, be interested in all things, even if it's not that interesting. So as them say, from the madman you can even learn a thing or two. So it's just that thing of going within and looking and say, then not because I don't like this thing, I'm not supposed to get some information from it which still can help me in a positive way. So we are looking into that, we are working on that, we are trying get into that. So make everything a part of the listening, the looking, and then take away from that which is beneficial. Yeah? So as much as possible we try look into things that we don't even like. And sometimes we find valuable information there. So yeah. What is it that you're trying to grow from and want to grow into? As we say, these challenges of real life. We can talk, sometimes we just need a listening ear from someone else, and then someone else's experience also help our experience to look at things in a different way, preferably a better way, a more make sense way. Blessed? Yeah, so into the main part of the reasoning now, what we are saying, I guess we can make this root 2 of do we really love our children, and the thing of healthy legacy. So I make this root 2 meaning because we are dealing with spiritual roots. So it's root 2 like how them have part 2, episode 1, episode 2. So this is root 2 of that reasoning. So we are saying, do we really love our children? So from the first root, we did talk about from the food aspects of health. So from just now I think we want to talk about the more so the emotional part of it, as we as parents and things. And we are talking about the relationships that we are having, friendship, intimacy, all of these relationships, spiritual relationships, all of these relationships. So do we really love our children? Why are we not focusing on passing on healthy legacies? And as I said before at the beginning of the video, we forgive thanks for the mistakes that have been made before us. So now we supposed to be like this generation, supposed to be like the wisest of generations, because so many mistakes, so many things have been done wrong, so many have been done right, and we should be learning from both and not repeating the same things. And we keep doing that, and this generation will pass it to the next generation again. So that is not healthy. So basically we have a nation of mad people where them say they try to do the same thing the same way over and over and expect to get a different result. It is the heights of madness that we need to check in, spiritually check in, and find back that sacredness within the self. We had it, but the interruption of the enslavement and all these things and the manipulation of our mind took it away, the culture, the spirituality, the food, the language, all these things. So we know where it come from. But at the time, as we say, we have the information is at our fingertips now. We can start to make a change. So that emotional health, that healthy legacy of the emotional and the spiritual, the physical as well. So many of us are going into relationships out of, for want of a better way to look at or say it, is based on the flesh. Boom, man, start look on the girl there. Yeah, man. Yo, Virgin, yo, look that. Girl 4 and 6 in the dog. Yeah, no. And you probably never see her face, and when she turn down, as well we say ugly. So boom, bird star, yo, dog. Ugly still never look on the bump of the king. Look on her waist. Yeah, look on her chest. Nice spirit of birds to be having. You know, so we can just bug head and deal with that. Yeah, so we get caught up in that. And then you pursue the female, and then you probably try to use a condom, but because we never learn to use the condom properly, it probably bursts. And then here comes a child. So what happens with this now? This child becomes an unwanted child. Yeah. Yo, it's just a one thing we did want to have her in the dog. You know, I don't know, I get catch up. But yo, what I use that, you know, she ain't a pitting the can go away. One next man will deal with that. You see me? So, we have a female, we're hungry now. Dep on our one, we'll probably try to find a next brother or next man to take care of she and the child if he's not one of them girls that were mentally strong and say, alright, I need a man to do this really, you know. If she find somebody who are good and willing enough, that's fine, but she can't go deal with it herself. You know what I mean? Use her brain, turn on, make fashion or get work, whatever. And then there's a child now that is growing up, feeling rejected because she not with a, well, male or female child, not seeing daddy. So they're not getting that balance of male and female in the home to see how a man treat a woman and a woman treat a man. So that one child now is responsible for our next generation, you know. And we need to understand that. Just like in the African space when them say when an elder dies, a library is gone. So we would want to look on the same way. We know that there are varying ways of looking at abortion, but it's just in the same way. Let's say in a normal situation, somebody choose to have an abortion. You kill, possibly we look on this, we kill one child, but we kill a whole generation with that move. So if we look on these things too. So there goes again, is the reason why we should even be careful, and we're talking about in normal situation. What we are choose to do with ourselves, our sacred self, we are allowing to be publicized just like anything else. You know, we now hold on to no sacredness. So we see that child, you know, and just take the example there from one child and then fling it around the world, and then we realize how much of an impact that will now have on generations upon generations. You know what I mean? A female. Yo, want to leg look good, you know, and they muscle them. Hey, nice though. First you see one, yo, that boy the sexy. And you go on the most way. And then you don't take no time to find out who this person is. Is this, and you even get to know the person on certain levels. The conversation is whack. Them don't have no brain, them don't have no, but you just say, yeah man, the figure. And you end up in a bed with a man like that. You get pregnant. So the reverse of that now. This man now contribute nothing of stability. So you get pregnant, him gone out, he might stay around you, but him gone out around, gone fool around with everybody else, which can put you under mental pressure or emotional pressure to deal with that, plus a child. You know what I mean? So based on that now, we have mother and father feeding things into the child against the parent that is not so active around them. So it becomes somewhat of a distance and a hatred from that child towards parents. And then this child now grow up with all of this, and then go and transfer that into a next setting of basically the same thing. So we need to look on these things. So we choose people based on this flesh, this appearance, this looks kind of a vibe, and then we end up with changing. We have a young child, male or female, and the parents being male or female, seeing us changing partners, 3-4 partners for 1 year. That is growing a child in confusion. Why is mommy or daddy doing this? And it becomes so normalized in front of their eyes, then they take it on as something to follow, because this is mommy and daddy doing this. So we need to check that. So as we said, the greatest teacher is our actions, what we do, not so much what we say. So they grew up not seeing us working through issues, working through any problems. They just see us, all right, we have an issue here, so get rid of him, man, one next. So this child meets so many people in their lifetime. They learn nothing about stability. They learn nothing about working through challenges, finding solutions. The only solution they see being active is just get rid of that person and get the next person. So these things, and these things are being carried on because we see it. We become portrayers of that because we have seen it, and we're still giving that to our children. We need to take on that thinking for ourselves, looking into what we're doing, see how it is affecting, look at how it affected us, and then want it not to affect our children that way. Make a check in and get back to that sacredness of the self. Pass that on. So this thing of do as I say but don't do as I do, we need to cut that out. And next thing is that some of our afraid for we're picking them don't like we. Then so if you touch back on the food aspect a little bit, is you train them on the sweetie and the cheese tricks and all these little foolishness and the little juices where we shouldn't even call juice really, but they are not juice. So when we check, all right, give me, yeah. So and it come to the phone and all these things. As I recognize, we give them this thing just to appease them, and we can bother with the stress. Again, there we go, the emotional and the mental strain away. Nah, really take tune off. So I want to say, our picnic them not for like we, you know, but they must respect it. So when we look into it, I say, if we picnic them ball or cry or holler no, for the good what we are trying to instill in them, rather than them for ball later in the future for the bad where other people are going to try to take out of them, the system, the jail, the police, all of these things, which still going to lead back to your having some kind of trauma in the future, because we never give them this healthy, emotional, spiritual legacy to carry on with. So them not feel like we, but they must respect we. And we not talk about being brute force and dogmatic and just, you know what I mean, forceful and them have to do this and them have to do that. When we are talking about the respect, we are talking about respect from whatever you're trying to instill in them. They must see you doing it, they must see me doing it. As I talk about my son, not talking from a perfect place, learning and sharing, is when I got respect, or when I feel say I got respect, or I think him should respect, is whatever I try to teach him in a positive way, he must see me doing the same thing. So if I say eat healthy this, drink water instead of soda and all of these things, for example, he's not living with me, but for any given day him show up unannounced, him supposed to come see me and do that same thing what me I tell him to do, rather than him show up on me unannounced and him come see me I drink soda, him see me I eat the bad food, him see me I eat that. But no, daddy I tell me say, so there's no respect from this up. But when him can show up any time and the same thing what me I tell him see me I do, him I go respect that. And from that place him also I probably want to take it on for real. Because he must say, okay, and I know joke thing daddy depend. So it's this kind of a thing. So it's respect from the levels of where you preach, you practice, and them see you living it. As we say, that is the greatest example of anything. You living that thing that you preach, that you teach, that you talk of, that you try to persuade others of. Because if them can't see you live it, it's not believable. So respect from that level, just to be doing what you said you would be doing, and the things you're trying to instill, you're doing them for yourselves. So it's going to be respected from the daddy. If that is true then, because daddy take care of himself that way. So it must mean something, and then daddy, mommy must be doing this for a big reason. And then now them start become interested. What you start find happening is that them start to ask you questions. What is that good for? So like my son, sometimes when him asks these things, I will give him answers, because I don't want him feel like I push him away, so him interest start to drop. So I give him answers sometimes. Next time I say, go and do the search, see the information for yourself, don't just take it from me. So it's these things we need to be doing. So as I say, in a Herbs Corner, most of the things that we are going to talk about are things that I am going to try for myself. So it's just like that. So these are the things we need to be taking a look at spiritually. And I want to say this to you now. Who would I love to know who make spirituality this spooky thing where it feel like you have to go on a particular place, one particular time, and you hear about angel with wings and everything sounds way up a sky or underground, and who make the things so spooky? When spirituality is a simple thing, you know. All we need to do is choose the better, the better things. The things will make more sense. Yeah? So here people talk about soulmate and kindred spirit, and there's an next term I don't remember now. Flame, something another. We still reference the soulmate. But what about the sense mate? The person who want to make sense with you. So even if them disagree with you, they might disagree with you at a level up. So they might disagree with what you are saying to make more sense. So these are the things. You know? So we need to tap into this. We need to take a real spiritual, get back to those principles, those sacred principles where the self, the temple, is so sacred that you just don't want to share it with anybody or anything. You know what I mean? You rather spend the time to yourself than, if it can't be quality time, spent with somebody else. You know? So therefore, when we make that connection and create a next life, join together and create a next life, we're passing on these healthy traits. That is one of the ways to create the world in somewhat of a, a perfect way. Because we have the topic there to do too, you know. Because we hear everybody talk about not being perfect. But when them say you're not beautiful, you go out and try to do everything for it look beautiful. But why are we say fake it till they make it when it comes to money? Why are we not doing that when it comes to whatever we are claiming to not be perfect? So there's only one me. I am perfect. As we said, we're going to go into that video one of these days, full length. So these are the things. So not only food that we should be passing on these healthy legacies, but spiritually, emotionally, physically. Exercise. Why exercise? eat these things, why you're eating these things. Put time and effort into doing the searching and the researching to see how these things are contributing to our, we're just going along willy-nilly. Again, we say in our next video, why are we just going after the experiences that other people tell we say for experience? Why are we not creating experiences for ourselves? We not do nothing creative if we really look on it, you know. We just still repeat the same foolishness from the past generation, you know. And somehow seem to be ignoring the things that we really should be taking on. So we need to check into this, we need to look into this. It's a serious thing. As much as we talk about the children are the future. Exactly. We need to take a real serious look on that. So what are we giving them to carry into the future? And what kind of future they are going to create for themselves? So we need to look on that. Yeah man, so healthy legacy. What our kind of legacy we are leave for we youth them, we pick them, we children them. From the health perspective of food. Make research the food where we eat and get rid of these ailments. And then from the spiritual, from the mental and the physical health as well. We need to be leaving these legacies and not just those things where society tell we say are of value. Because we give them these things, but because they're not balanced emotionally, mentally, spiritually, they still can't create a world for themselves that is, let's say, great enough for them to exist in a peace. You know what I mean? And it's something we said a long time ago. If me I teach my child, let's say the correct way, and the next neighbor over there, so where under some mental stress and some, I teach to them child a different thing, let's say on the negative. That child grew up being negative, my child grew up being positive. My positive child now is still a target of that negative child, which is the repetition or the repetition of that one against the other in society. Because he's doing the right thing, you want your thing, so you see him with the thing, that you're going to take it from him, because you never get the brought up, that training there to say, go out, get your own, this is how you do it. That root wasn't created. So we need to look into these things, we need to check in. And these healthy legacies we need to be passing on to our children, our youth them. Yeah, and when we say pass on the healthy legacy, it don't mean say if we just me to my child alone. And if you look out for the neighbor, pick them as well, the neighbor children them as well, and pass it on. Because we say that thing of that bad child, so to speak, my good child will become a target of that bad child. So we have to try and make that positive energy reach to all of the children them as possible. So less of other children become less of the targets. So we have less negative energy. If we go out, they go make targets of other children where they get, let's say, a more positive energy. So once a blessed love, next reasoning under the Iroko tree. Again, take care of the environment, take care of yourself. I want to say, try to exist in a peace with it, with self and those around you, the environment in a whole, and look into all these things. And we say, listen for more than what is said, or listen for what is not said as well. Sometimes what is not said is even more important than what is said. And look for more than what is shown, or what is not shown. Again, sometimes what is not shown is more important than what is shown. So it's discernment, and you have to tap into yourself and be able to use information to check your surroundings, your environment, and from that discernment you will come up with logical ways to move and think and behave. So yeah man, we give thanks for the next reasoning. So blessed love, world family, African family. Take care of yourself, take care of the youth them. Make we pass on those healthy legacies from what we eat, by food way, how we listen, how we think, and we realize everything is connected. So if you eat bad food, that will contribute to bad gut health, which them say that are your second brain, which contribute to the first brain, and everything is off balance. So violence and all of these things come right from this as well. So make we check in, get back to those sacred, spiritual, moral, sacred principles. Blessed love.
Come link with me under the Iroko tree. Make a reason through every season. Speaking the truth for the youths. Maintaining the spiritual rules. Maintaining the spiritual rules. Maintaining the spiritual rules.